Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer. Welcome to another of my stories. I've been giving you an ongoing account of my life, my own heritage, and of course where it resonates with you. It's been fascinating to read how my life and your life are similar in different ways, and we've gone through a whole load of different things. I'm at the point now where I'm in my early to mid 20s and I've been to London for a while. I've lived in London, and then the reason I'd gone to London was to go to do some training. Bit unusual. I went to mime school. Yes, mime, you know, the old wall and walking on the spot and all of that, which is why I'm standing up in slightly cramped space today. So I left you when I was squatting, I think in Palmer's Green off the North Circular Road, and then I got it into my head that I'd gone to mime school in the April, but actually thinking about this since, I realised that it was later that year in September. It was the start of a new term. And this is how the mime school worked. It was a 3-month course. There was a beginner's course and an advanced course and a number of week courses. So I managed to get, because I'd been going to Lodge Hill and I had been teaching there and I had got the respect of the teachers there as well, and of course the county drama advisor George Rawlings, I became quite well in with them, and I was able, I think because I'd shown a lot of promise and willing and enthusiasm, to get a grant to go to mime school. I didn't have any money, so I couldn't afford to go. My parents didn't have any money to pay for me to go. So I got this grant of £500, which just about paid the course. I think the course was something like 550. So I think it all paid the course, and they paid. And there was a whole kerfuffle about would the money come in time, and would they accept me on that basis? But they did. Now, the course was run by Desmond Jones, very much respected mime performer, who I think grew up in the Cambridge Footlights, if I remember rightly. He was of the same era of John Cleese and the Monty Python team, and in fact he knew all of them quite well from what I understand. But he'd gone off to do his training in mime. He was fascinated by mime, and then eventually he'd set up his school, which had been going for some duration, in Shepherd's Bush in London. Now, it was held, the school, mime school, in an old church hall, wooden floor, old Victorian building, very cold in the winter, and not much warmer in the summer. Just a typical village hall, which is where he ran the course. And I was then living in Little Haven, just north of Horsham, and I would stay on my mum's floor, if I remember rightly, commute on the Victoria, up to Victoria on the London train, get onto the Central line, go to Shepherd's Bush, and there walk down about, I guess it was half a mile or so, to the village hall. And I'd do this every day for the 3 months that I was there for the first term. And then I worked in the evening after that. It was in the afternoon, because the course ran from 9 till 1 o'clock. So this made it all work very easily. It was just 4 hours every day for these 3 months. And then in the afternoon, I think about 2ish, I had to be at, I think it was not Littlewoods, but somebody did mention it, and I can't remember what it was, Greenwoods or something. And it was a sort of like a mini Boots. And I worked there in the afternoon to late evening, and then caught the train back down to Horsham or Little Haven, and would repeat that process. So went to mime school. Now, Desmond Jones ran it just on his own. There were 20 of us. And he was quite strict, but he was very friendly and he was very down to earth, and I liked him very much. I thought as a teacher he was great. There was only 2 mime schools at the time. There was Adam Darius, which was much more shall we say, expressive mime, more dance-like, whereas Desmond Jones was more acting, more technical, but still had a lot of movement. So when you think of mime school, you've got to think of what we were doing was not your white face, stripy t-shirt, Marceau, white gloves, and just the wall and all of those things. It was partly that, but the white face was 1930s. It was so outdated even then, except that it's become a cliche, really, of mime. Think more of physical theatre. You're telling stories physically. So the emphasis was on being fit, and we needed to articulate every part of our body, isolate certain bits so that we could move in with style and grace, and give over emotion using body language rather than mugging and just facial stuff. The face stuff and all of the sort of clowning part of it, the over-the-top grotesque clowning, was something that you could add on in your own personal style. But Desmond Jones was very much more about teaching you to look good in terms of aesthetics, the physical body of aesthetics. So we had to wear tights and often leggings, a bit like dance, and t-shirts, but not too baggy, because he wanted to see grace and form in how we did. So holding yourself, and you know, or being open to the audience, all these sort of things was very important. The movement. And I mean, I'm kind of moving. I'm moving now to give you an indication of what it was. We did a lot of building up strength, I suppose, exercises to build up strength, and as I say, articulation, so that we could move any part of our body at will when we wanted to, and have complete control over it. That was part of the process, because when you start to use body language to demonstrate emotion or a physical thing like pushing something, you need to be able to have complete and utter control of all of your body at all the time. So part of that 3 months was building up the vocabulary of one's body, if you like. And as Desmond said, it takes about 2 years really to get the training into your body. So I did the beginner's course for 3 months. I loved it so much, but I couldn't remember all of it, and I wanted to repeat it. So I did it again. And I think I was quite unusual. He also ran an advanced course, which took you to the next degree, which I then followed that up because I was just incredibly enthusiastic about it. Being from a filming background, if you like, with my Super 8 and my videos and various things that I'd been doing prior to that, and my ordinary theatre, I was very interested how you could concentrate the audience's attention on just one part of the body at any one time, so you would know where people were looking. And it was very similar to filmmaking in the way that you cut to things, but in a proscenium arch you need to be able to take the audience exactly to where you want them to do. But we did all the technical stuff as well. So we did, you know, we did the wall. There were so many things. One of the favourite things that was the small intricate things. So for example, one exercise was taking a not that I smoked, but a cigarette out of a cigarette box and lighting it with a box of matches, because that's actually quite a lot of technical movement that we need to make believable. In, you know, you have no props, so you're trying to make that. So you would lift up a box of cigarettes. You've got to work out the size. Open them up. Grab hold of one. Stick it in your mouth. Then of course you need a cigarette. You need a box of matches. So you'd have a box of matches. and you've got to light them, and smoke it however you do. Same with things like food. An apple. Oh look, there's a nice apple. How do you eat an apple? A crisp apple, it's very crisp. Whereas perhaps a banana is much softer, isn't it? And a stick of celery, is crisp, but you always have that this stringy stuff that would come down. So we would do food, we would do pushing and pulling and all this sort of stuff. There was so much to it, and really I need to do a video about mime and all of that. That would be fantastic. The pushing, as I said, the lifting, the walking on the spot, which of course you can't see my legs at the moment, which are doing their own special thing. Leaning on a bar, all the sort of gimmicks, if you like. Cheers. Taking a drink and all that kind of stuff, opening windows, peering out, all those sort of things that people, and of course that when I was at Lodge Hill and we'd met Yuri Stanislav, who was doing more about the psychology of mime and less about the technical aspects. Desmond gave us all of the technical stuff, the fluidity, the dance, and the grace and the articulations of the body, so that you can show interest, desire, craving, fear, and all of that, and work that into your bodies with also minimum amount of without going over the top. So it was great. As Desmond used to say, it's naked man on a naked stage. You could create a universe within 2 square feet, and you could move around and do all sorts of things, and you didn't need scenery. You didn't really need costumes. Obviously you were respectful, but that was the whole point. And you could have this theatre and take people on a journey with it. And it was an amazing experience, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And there's made some great friends, and we would do group sessions, and we would experiment with things. And Desmond was, as I say, he was strict, because he would shut the door at 9:15. So if you weren't there at 9:15, the doors would shut, because his thing was the curtain is up at 7:30. If you're not there, you're not in the play. Curtain up, you've got to be there. It's part of the training. And there was a lot of those sort of things that we had to do. And he did throw a couple of people off who were slackers. I wasn't a slacker. I was there and a half an hour or even an hour on some occasions, because I never wanted to miss the train and get there, and would be waiting at the door, very eager, very enthusiastic, and thoroughly loved it. But I could tell you more and more about those times. The curious thing was, at the end of the beginner's course, you do the course, and you've kind of got this introduction to mime and what it is, and we were still trying to work out really what it was from the old Marcel Marceau clowning stuff with the white face and the mugging and all of that, and putting yourself into a glass box, and the stuff that I would get employed to do on the corporate circuit, because that's what people thought mime was, and they loved all that, and I would do that in street theatre. But on the last week, I remember Desmond Jones would say to anybody who wants a certificate to say that you'd been on the course and that sort of thing, to come and see him at the end of the sessions, and he would provide you with one. And I never went for a certificate, and I think pretty much everybody did, but I never went for a certificate, because it was it was like a qualification, if you like. And I didn't go for one. And I remember Desmond asking me, he said, "Oh, Richard, did you want to get a certificate and all that?" And I said to him, "But what's the point? I didn't understand. I couldn't comprehend, and I still don't. It's like in a lambda exam for acting. It's the same thing. You can either do it or you can't. A bit of paper to say, oh, I'm a mime artist. I can perform mime. I can do the wall. I can walk on the spot. I can push against walk against the wind. I can be lifted up. I can climb invisible ladders. I can do all of this. But a piece of paper saying that, no, let me demonstrate, let me do it, let me show you, let me go to an audition. That's where you see it. A bit of paper doesn't say, oh, I've attended mime school, so therefore I'm God's gift. And Desmond Jones actually, as far as I was aware and as remember, respected me because he said, yes, you'll be amazed how many people want that bit of paper because they think the qualification is more important than the performance, than doing. And to me, it was all about the doing. It was a great time. Anyway, so I dare say there'll be, I'll talk about that more in a different thing. But for now, that's my mime school experience. And I hope you enjoyed it. I need some more space so that perhaps one day I can actually do something in mime. Because I used to then go off and perform it, but we'll talk about all the performance stuff in another video. But thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed my work and you'd like to support me, I'm still busking effectively on the internet with these shows, with these videos. So do become a patron, support what I do. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. And follow, like and subscribe and all the usual, and I'll see you on another one. Let's hope the weather is going to improve because it's been a bit wet and miserable, hence me being in doing another of my stories. Till next time, take care. Bye bye for now. Delicious.